We are 22S Radio, the next wave of K-Beach. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to the program, guys. I am your host, Talking with Spencer, back at again with another great interview. This is the third one we're doing in the month of May. I'm very excited for this new series we have going on. Cab, how are you?
What's good, man? I'm great.
How you doing?
I'm glad to be here, man.
Cab is also another coworker of mine at the Rec Center. He's a producer, and I'm sorry for being here late. Just gotta tell you that first off. Yeah, you ever take like a nap and like it just, it hit different?
Yo, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was me earlier today.
That's a fact.
Had the longest day. So, I've been doing a little research on you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe you because I feel like this word I'm about to use
Right.
could be considered very offensive to the people who make music like you do.
Hey, yo, lay it on me. Go ahead.
Okay. Lo-fi?
Yo, that's too funny, man. That's low-key hilarious because I was just talking to one of the homies earlier today, and he was like, hey, you listen to lo-fi? Like, you like lo-fi hip-hop? And I was like, no. I don't mess with that. I see the similarities, though. I was kind of thinking of the ones that I sent you the other day. And there's similarities between that lo-fi vibe and then what I put out, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because the heavy sampling, you know what I mean? So a lot of producers sample in a different way. A lot of them have their own, specific way that they like to hit up samples and whatnot. But I see the similarities. I feel that.
When you say heavy sampling, do you mean by sample choice or sample the way the sample is used?
I think the way I mix my samples.
Okay.
It's because I kind of want to create and this I haven't even described to anyone before, so I'm kind of talking through it at the same time. I guess you could say nocturnal vibe. So that's what I think creates that similarity between the lo-fi and what I do. And I think that the drums are the main difference between what I do and what you would consider like lo-fi hip-hop or studied hip-hop streamed.
Lo-fi hip-hop beats and chill music to study and relax to. Yeah.
And you know what else? What? I think it's the the little videos that I be using on the Instagram clips are mad similar to that. And that's why I wanted to move away from those little anime clips. Exactly.
From that label. I feel you. Yeah. The thing that surprises me is that there is, or at least was, a genuine lo-fi movement in hip-hop that was actually authentic in its nature.
Straight up.
And then, like all things that are great, it just got oversaturated by a lot of people who just wanted to use it to, like, study music. Mm-hmm. And it kind of, like, it takes away from the fact that this is actual art, that people are just using it as background music to study or do whatever the fuck they want to do. Because I remember going to places like Low End Theory and clubs in like Los Angeles, and then they would celebrate lo-fi as an actual art form,
right?
Similar to like going to a concert would be. I mean, you wouldn't listen to YG just in the background while you're studying and listening to music. It's something that you would pay attention to.
I might listen to some YG while I'm doing math.
I feel like we all would.
I might be doing that.
Yeah, at some point in our lives we had to. So what do you use to make music? Do you use a sampler or do you use...
So, the program that I use is FL Studio.
Okay.
I think I have either 12 or 20. I might have updated to 20. And I know even on top of that, a lot of OG producers, especially the ones from like Atlanta and whatnot, because we know Atlanta is a huge hub for the whole genre of music that we're mainly interested in. They like to stick to the older types of FL Studio, so like FL Studio 11. They say after you have 11, we don't even consider you, a voice in this community. But I don't want to hear it. I don't care.
So wait, what version you have? I'm sorry. I missed
FL Studio 20 right now.
20?
Because I think I had 12 when I first got it, and then I updated to 20. I was like, I just want to see what it's talking about. And it seemed more fluid, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was... That's a good point you made, because when I attempted to make music back in the day, I used FL Studio 12.
Okay, yeah.
And it seemed like if I were to get back on, that would be the best way to get back on that train, because it's so, not simple, but it's easily constructed for someone to use.
Right.
Okay, so let's just get into your influences, and this is probably going to be my favorite part because you seem like you know a lot about producing, and I always want to ask you, who's your favorite producer?
Okay, so
in the game right
to
now?
hit on one thing first, I don't really know that much.
Okay,
I've been producing for like 9 months now.
that's
so,
it.
Yeah,
I would have never expected that.
I'm pretty new to this, to be honest with you. So my favorite producer right now. That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like a multi-tiered.
Okay, all right.
question, you know
all
what I'm
right,
saying?
that's fair,
So
yeah.
we can get into it. We can get into it. So I'll start at the lowest level. Right now, probably my favorite producer would be Monte Booker.
Monty Booker.
Yeah. So you familiar with
yeah.
Dope?
He was part of the selection label, which I actually started here at Cal State Long Beach. If you didn't know that.
What?
Yeah, you know that.
That's
Joe,
crazy.
Joe K actually had his show 15 feet away from this room.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
then it
even
started
know that.
here, and then he went to create selection after you graduated.
That's crazy.
He's an alumni here. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
yo, you gotta get Joe K on the show, man.
I don't think Joe K wants to be in the show simply because he blocked me on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know why. To this
That's too
day,
funny,
I'm
man.
still confused about why he blocked me on Twitter.
That's too funny.
So, Joe K, if you want to come on the show, unblock me on Twitter.
Hey,
first.
look, we can run up on Joe K.
We
See
need
how
to
he
run up
feels,
on Joe
man.
K.
We can see how
We
he
need to
feels.
figure it out. So
Monte
Monty Booker.
Booker for like right now, the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
So I'd say kind of a tie between him and of like modern era, so like 2010s, maybe some 2000s. My favorite producer of that general era would be 40. So Noah Shabib. It's just such an obvious vibe that people have obviously hopped on top of that. But I think him and Drake, for those who don't know who 40 is, that's Drake's go-to producer. He's literally created a whole sound for a country of Canada. You know what I'm saying? That whole, like I kind of said, nocturnal, but very instrumental, heavy on the piano, heavy on chords, heavy on melodies, whatnot. It's a low-key, kind of like sensual nocturnal sound that they've created, which is really cool, that you can really pick up and take care, which is people's favorite Drake joint.
Yeah, it's definitely a sound that you could attach to Drake.
It's palpable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's thick. It's a thick sound. And I've heard people describe, not that I'm comparing myself to 40 because I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. But people have said lo-fi in reference to him as well. And it's like, okay, I understand that, comparison, but it's deeper than lo-fi. Like there's levels to what 40's doing, and it's a high level. But probably my favorite producer of all time would be Quincy Jones. You know what I'm saying? Grew up with Michael Jackson. Quincy Jones is on a different level. That dude is so talented, it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
He's going to be the one of the all-time greatest. And as someone
It's
who,
a fact.
yeah, as someone who, I'm a big jazz head. So
That's foul.
coming from that world, that was actually my first love, like of music, was jazz music. So coming from that world, Quincy Jones, Herbie Hancock,
Yo, Herbie Hancock is
are gonna
crazy,
be the people that we're gonna look back on and think they did it for us. Like they started. If it wasn't for them, none of this would have happened.
Right.
And yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I did not. This is the first time someone's brought up like a jazz artist on this show, and I'm really happy you said that.
Yo.
Yeah, because
I mean, like there's other influence as well, more
Yeah.
than just like producers, but like obviously we know the first music that you don't have to fall in love with it, but the first music you can remember in the back of your head is like what your parents put you onto. So, I came up with gospel music.
Yeah.
As my parents and grandparents came up with quote unquote oldies. For them it's not oldies, but funk, soul, so 70s fire, 80s fire. And then like my dad's favorite genre of music is jazz. So, I've been listening to jazz since probably like the womb, you know what I mean? So that's why I got some love for jazz like that.
Yeah, my parents used to put me on, well, against our will, a lot of like. They didn't put us a lot. Honestly, it didn't put us on a lot of like old school gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as they did like the new school gospel,
Like that,
like Kirk Franklin,
that
and,
Donnie McClurkin,
and Marvin Sapp.
Yeah,
And,
hey, Marvin is on one.
Yeah, honestly, when you actually listen to gospel music,
Mm-hmm.
especially the newer version, like the newer realm of it,
Mm-hmm.
me recently see it as more than just gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're doing things that are similar to what new funk and what hip hop is doing to what it does to its predecessors.
Straight
It's
up.
a new sound based off what the old gospel was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always questioning why, like, you ever hear like a riff
Mm-hmm.
and it reminds you of like a feeling or like a memory
Mm-hmm.
or like a sound. There are certain riffs I'll hear in other songs that are similar to, you know, like what I hear in a gospel song.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize it's because of the chord progressions in it. They're all the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, first off, you know how you're talking about you remember a feeling or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's, you may get into this later on. I don't know what your idea is, but the vibe is the most important thing for me when it comes to music. Like, is there a vibe? If there's no vibe there, it's just not going to be, generally considered quote unquote good. You know what I'm saying? The best music ever has an obvious vibe. Back to like classical music. So I know what you're talking about. But yeah, with the whole riff and like, it's like you know those chord progressions. But speaking of Quincy, I seen something he said like earlier this week. He was like, people have been using the same notes for centuries. So that's where that creativity comes in. Like, you have that riff or that chord progression or whatever. We've heard it before, but what's the rhythm within that chord progression?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the vibe that you can get from the same exact chorus that somebody used, in a 90s gospel song or in a 2003 gospel song? Can Chance use it, his whole coloring book joint?
Yeah.
And can he make it rap? You know what I'm saying? So that's when that creativity comes into, I guess you could say, it comes into handy.
Yeah, it takes a lot of tools in order to get that far.
Right.
And again, what you said before, that's where creativity comes into play. So now that we got production out of the way, who do you think is going to be taking over the next stream of producing in the future? Who do you have your eye on? That's coming up soon.
That's a good question. I see in the near future. And it's so crazy because my answer would probably be the same answer as, someone just listening to music in their car or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's for a different reason. Mm-hmm. Metro
Boomin.
And that's because, when you say tastemakers in like fashion or film or whatever, Metro is that, but for music, for trap music. Because this man will start some kind of sound that a regular listener won't pick up on. And then in a year and a half or in 2 years, everybody's got that sound down pat. So, for example, when he started back with Future, way back in the day, he was really making gross beat what it is today. And for the producers, they'll know what gross beat is. Like, most people are not going to know what gross beat is and stuff like that. It's in FL Studio, though. And now you can't listen to a trap song that doesn't have gross beat in it. And he started that maybe 6 years ago or something like that in FL Studio. I don't know what that version was. This was before I even knew there was a FL Fruity Loops or whatever. Fruity Loops 8 or something. So half-timing a melody that sounds like piano, reversing that piano, and then making it sound hard is what he did. And then you got his new sound on a new collab tape with all the different artists. Yeah, what was it called? Not All Heroes Wear Capes.
Yeah.
Or something like
that's
that.
Right. Yeah.
There were sounds in there that's like, yo, something's off, but it's a good type of off. So that's what everybody's going to be on in 2019 because he did it in 2018. So probably in the next 5 years, Metro. And then after that, man, I don't know. Like, it's an open book when it comes to who the next quote-unquote producer is going to be.
You know who I think is going to come out of the woodworks? Pierre Bourne.
Okay, we was going. Pierre Bourne was gonna come up.
Yeah,
it was
just bound to happen.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah,
it's just that so nice.
It's who would you compare him to?
No one.
I mean, yeah, it's like Metro Boomin is to Metro Boomin is to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart
Mm-hmm.
as what Pierre Bourne is to.
Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Low
Yeah.
key. I don't know, man. I'll say Pierre has a gift, and it's so important what a person's influences are and how patient they are with getting to the forefront of music and whatever. Because a lot of people are rushing these things, and it's like, I understand it takes time to craft a sound that people can notice in a heartbeat, but will take years for someone to copy. You know what I'm saying? So Pierre Bourne didn't come up with the sound that he has. What's his name? Mexico Dro. He's well known down south in Atlanta for that like grimy trap sound. He went to jail. So he was in jail for I think a couple years or something like that. And a lot of people started to pick up on that sound, really kind of bite his sound, quote unquote. But it's like Pierre perfected it.
Mm-hmm.
And he may be from the South or from Atlanta, but he lived in New York for a long time. So you see a mix of two different influences from two different cultures completely that create some sound that is like, yo, this is too far.
Yeah.
It's too far.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about Pierre is that he really knows how to make the most addictive loops.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
It's just like it's almost like a drug. Like you just can't like get it. Not that you can't get it out of your. Well, you can get it out of your head, but at the same time,
I can't get it out of my head.
Like every single Playboi Carti song is just like,
dog.
I can't get it out of my head. Like like and just it's just the melody. It's just like that's what I think is the appeal of trap these days. It's just a really short, sweet melody. It doesn't matter what the hell you say over it, as long as the melody is good and the beat's fire. Say whatever the hell you want.
Like I said, the most important part, at least to me, is the vibe. And because that loop is such a vibe, it's an undeniable vibe, you can listen to it forever. So it's funny that you brought this up so soon because, you know, I brought up Monte Booker and how I've been listening to him a lot the past couple of weeks. If you asked me a month ago, it would be Pierre Bourne. It's not even
really.
It's not even close. Like he's on one right now, and Playboi Carti just happens to be my favorite artist right now. And it's weird. It's weird how things happen because, you know, a few years ago, you asked me if I'm listening to Carti or Future, like trap artists. I'd be like, don't disrespect me like that. They not saying nothing. They're not saying nothing like Joey or J. Cole and stuff like that. It's crazy how my ears evolve. So now I see the real life genius of what Carti and Pierre Bourne are doing. And I think that's what I think Pierre is doing. And it's like it's evidence for keep it simple, stupid, quote unquote.
Kiss.
Right. And you just switch one basic thing, and people are so familiar with it already subconsciously that they're almost addicted to it. So trap is centered around minor chords, scales, or whatever that is. I don't know music theory, but minor, like the black keys on a piano, basically. Pierre has a lot of major chords and scales and progressions and whatnot. So it's a happier sound, quote unquote happier, like it's brighter. So it almost makes it childish, but then it's hard at the same time. So it's just natural. Like it's just fun to listen to. And like you said, you can listen to that loop for forever. Carti can go crazy. Young Nudie can go crazy.
That's
on
what I
it,
think is the
and his
gift about
raps.
him. Because he found a way. Because again, like it's hard to make a really hard beat and be happy at the same time.
Exactly.
Pierre found a way to do that. And again, it's kind of like cartoony, which exactly fits like people like Playboi Carti, people like 6ix9ine. Like that's the image they're trying to go for.
And it's his ability to find good sample loops as well.
That too.
So, you know, when it comes to sampling, when people think of sampling, they're probably going to think of like Kanye or something like that. Yeah. So Kanye really got the sauce from like Jay Dilla and people from back in the day. And it's amazing. I've been finding out people really don't know who Jay Dilla is, who he is.
It's sad. It's really sad.
You know, I'm not going to be on their head right now about that.
But we will be. When we get a message from our sponsor. We got to get a quick break.
Say less.
And we'll get back to the rest of the programming.
Yeah.
We are 22S Radio, the next wave of K-Beach. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to the program, guys. I'm your host, Tagwin Spencer, and I have a wonderful producer with me. Cab, how are you?
I'm great.
We are back, and we were just talking about, what were we talking about again?
Well, we were talking about
I always forget.
Different producers, so we had just brought up Jay Dilla.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about like who's gonna bring in the new sound of producers and whatnot. What's your take on that? Like, what do you think is the next wave or the next sound?
I don't know. I was talking, you know Terrell.
Yeah.
Juice. We were talking about. So I'm taking this class right now, and the professor on the first day of class, or one of the first days of class, was talking about how there's this ongoing debate,
Right.
that the next phase of hip hop is going to be trap music. So much so that trap music is going to be, it's in a totally different genre. Like not a subgenre, but like it'd be like comparing hip hop and classical music.
Right.
It's going to be a totally different thing. So it would be interesting to see like comparison of the two. And you have to and for me, if you're going to ask this question, you have to give two answers. Right. One for trap and one for hip hop. For trap, Pierborn. Pierborn, for sure. Again, using those major melodies in order to create a hard beat, not really something very easy to do. And for hip hop, Ninth Wonder. Ninth Wonder. Because simply...
One of the goats.
Yeah, yeah, by far. You can't... If there's anyone that will be relatively close to Jay Dilla, I believe it's Ninth Wonder. Because it just sounds so familiar. He knows how to use, I'm going to butcher this word, metric conversion, which means you're switching times in between one bar of a beat and another bar of a beat. That's not very easy to do, from 6/8 to 4/4 to 6/8 to 4/4, and so on and so forth. He's the only person I know that could do that. And I'm sure other people are out there that can do that. I just don't know of it.
Right.
And plus, what he's worked on that's out there, like in the mainstream, is just marvelous.
Crazy stuff.
Like Duckworth, for example. If you don't know who Ninth Wonder is, go listen to Kendrick Lamar's Damn, and the final song is Duckworth. He produced that beat.
A lot of Rhapsody's songs, too.
Yeah.
Who's the best female rapper in the world right now.
By far.
Not a question.
By far. Not a question.
She's almost as good as Kendrick Lamar, and that's not even cap. Like, that girl, she's too talented. Her bars are crazy.
I feel like people sleep on female rappers too much.
Yeah.
By far, yeah. And the ones that do get attention are this meh.
Well, first off, so the new sound of the trap being a whole different genre, that's actually mad interesting. I was watching some of the interview you had with Juice, so that was an interesting take on it. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and I don't think the regular people who listen to music are going to have too much of an influence on that. Like, it's just going to happen through the artist. Like, how creative are they going to get with that? I think it's going to go two ways as well. I think trap is going to stay in rap. It's going to be part of, subgenre of hip hop or whatever. But I think that similar to the early 2000s, that R&B is going to be it. Like, R&B is going to be the main genre, because obviously rap is the main genre right now. Rap coming out of the South and whatnot. R&B, like amazing, true sounding R&B, hasn't been at the forefront for such a long time now. But I think that's going to be at the forefront pretty soon here, because you have too many talented artists that like just aren't on the same level as a Future or a Cardi B or whatever. You got cats like her, too talented. Ari Lennox, the obvious ones like Bryson and Daniel Caesar. Yeah. They're all over the place, and their R&B is sounding like true R&B again.
You did make a point. I never would have thought of that. Because from what I've learned or experienced is that hip-hop and R&B have gone like this.
Right.
And they've always been, at one point or another, like butting heads.
It's almost like they can't coexist or
exactly.
something.
And what you're starting to see is that these groups are starting to work together.
Yes.
And I believe there's one individual that portrays this culture so well between hip hop and R&B is, I hate to say it, Chris Brown. Chris Brown. Love him or hate him. Love him or hate him.
Look, Chris Brown really one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people think of his character, that could be real controversial too. You know what I'm saying?
Opinion is an opinion.
Opinion's an opinion.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's going to be the one that combine those two forefronts together, with R&B and hip hop. Me personally, I prefer when he was an R&B singer. I don't really care for much when he's rapping.
No, I don't like when he's working with Lil Dicky.
Yeah, it's like,
that song is so irritating.
So weird.
But, hey, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But, again,
you know what we're missing?
What?
If this one thing happens, it's a wrap. R&B is going to be it. We need the R&B groups back, like back in the day. Some B2K stuff, you know what I mean? Some R&B groups, like some Destiny's Child or something. And then they got to bring back, and it's like you can't avoid it in R&B because it's almost what R&B is made for. You got to bring back the nasty part of R&B.
Yeah, like the booty rap.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know, the R&B artists are making songs almost like it's trap, and it's a different type of quote-unquote nasty. R&B it's just, I said it earlier, sensual kind of. So, you know, that smoothness, that spaced out vibe, that's what's missing. And then, you know, I think another sound that could pop up is a sound similar to, and it's not even really rap, but I think the two will be incorporated. Artists like Toro y Moi, Tame Impala. Everyone loves these guys once they find out about them because it's not necessarily EDM. It's not necessarily house. It's just like artistry. You know
it's not very, it's not niche.
Yeah,
but it doesn't need to be niche.
And it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Unknown Mortal Orchestra, like we were just talking about.
Listening to. Came on during the break.
Yo, just sounds like that. It's almost like they don't have a genre. So incorporating something like that and that happier sound like you're talking about, Pierre Bourne, it's a surefire way to create a new wave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that works. But what I've been thinking a lot about recently is that more so, how are people going to react to this new change? And if we... I'm still really sitting on the idea of R&B coming back. Because now it makes sense now that you say it.
It's going to happen, but people don't see it's going to happen.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking about, like, festivals I've been to and, like, concerts I've seen. And, like, everyone's talking about, like, Camp Flog Gnaw, perfect example. Like, it was just straight rappers.
Yeah. Shout out Tyler.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler.
Shout out Tyler.
Yeah.
This dude is different.
Yeah. And I love it, right? It's just, it's authentic.
I've loved his whole career.
Yeah. It's a beautiful evolution.
For real.
But on that note, it's just that it used to be straight rappers way back in the day. Like, it had Tyler, the Creator, like Earl Sweatshirt, and, you know, people like that. And, like, Death Grips. Like, who we see, like, Death Grips at Tyler, the Creator Festival?
For real.
Yeah, like, okay.
I mean,
like,
it's kind of bound to happen low key. They're just weird. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Death Grips is just weird, you know what I'm saying?
Just weird, this weird shit. But hey, like, I liked it. But now it has people like, Tyler, obviously, SZA, and I love SZA.
Dude, yeah. I recently revisited her album.
Control?
Yeah, and I knew it was good. And I was like, I gave it its love when it first came out. But I revisited it like maybe February, something like that. Yo.
I need to. I feel like I need to do that.
TDE artists are built different.
Like, I feel like there's so much more. Like, you ever re-listen to an album and it's just like, I learned something totally different from when the first time I listened to this.
Dude,
I feel like I just know, like, they're just like chock full of information in that Control album that I just did not pick up on. And I just need to go back and listen to it.
And I mean, I understand that she made the album and geared it towards like the ladies and whatnot, but I'm just talking about the artistry. Like,
yeah, exactly.
From her, and this is just like, this could be a blanket statement for TDE artists and producers because their talent is crazy. Like, their vibe is a lot different. But her artistry is crazy. You know, Schoolboy Q, it's just different. Like Isaiah Rashad, their sounds are just different. So the Control one, go back, listen to that joint.
I need to. Good. I will do.
So stuff like that, and shout out to producers in TDE like Soundwave and whatnot.
Soundwave, yeah.
Them dudes are talented. Like, it's kind of impressive, and that's a sound that got it's got to blow up.
It's hard to believe that there would be a Pimp Butterfly without Soundwave, especially with most of the. Yeah, I don't want to say pop tracks, but like without most of the more popular tracks in the
singles.
Album. Yeah, like These Walls, for example, and
which is crazy.
Which
that song is too goofy.
It's just have you heard the story behind that song?
These Walls?
Yeah.
I've come up with the story.
What's your story? Your story?
Hey, I want to hear the real story, and I'll see how close I am.
Okay, all right.
I doubt I'm close.
Here's the story behind These Walls. Okay, so the song before, I believe, is King Kunta. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me on that. The song before is King Kunta, in which
Ballsy song
goes hard, in which Kendrick talks about how people in the hood were playing him and stuff. So, well, you know what the phrase "these walls" refers to, right?
I don't know.
It has double meaning.
Because I thought the walls were talking about when it comes to females.
Yeah,
like,
it
okay.
does. It does. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I don't know what the rating of this show is.
You're not wrong.
I mean?
Yeah. No, you can say whatever you want. It talks about that, and it talks about the walls of a jail cell.
Okay.
So basically, the very last verse, he says, "If your walls talk, you tell them it's too late. Tell them your destiny, it's destined your fate." Basically, he says a verse where
the one where the instrumental goes down is like filtered out, and he's
just going with it.
The effects on it. Yeah.
It actually refers back to Good Kid, Mad City,
my favorite
in which
album.
Someone killed one of his friends, and now that he's in jail, he's sleeping with the dude's girlfriend. So not only is he talking about the walls of the jail cell, he's talking about the walls of, a
shouty.
Yeah,
that's crazy. First off, Kendrick hard for that.
Yeah, and
hey Kendrick, you kind of
you kind of a dick for that, Kendrick. But at the same time, like, wow, like that's some real G shit.
No, but for real, like, first off, I didn't know that was the story behind These Walls. I thought These Walls were only talking about like a girl's walls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what makes it the perfect party song.
It's a perfect party song, especially an LA party.
Yeah,
you like to dance at LA parties. I don't know what they be doing in New York and whatnot. It seems like they be shooting and whatnot. But in an LA party, try to dance and whatnot. These Walls I love that song. That's probably top 3 for me on To Pimp a Butterfly. Is that your favorite album by him?
Oh, by far. Yeah.
It's that jazz sound.
Yeah,
you like jazz.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just Pimp Butterfly. It just has a very not niche message. That's what I liked about it. You could listen to it over and over and over again.
For real.
And get something totally different out of it. And it really helped me figure out a lot of questions just about life and being a black person in the world. Like I listened to it after Nip died, and it kind of put a perspective on things. Like, okay, it's kind of hard for you to wrap your head around this, but let me give you some insight on why this happened, and that's what the album did for me.
Yeah, I mean, complete side note. Come on, y'all gonna take Nipsey?
Yeah,
I thought we were better than this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's crazy, man. It's almost disrespectful not only to Nipsey and his family, but it's disrespectful to the city as a whole.
Yeah, it makes us look bad.
For real.
And it's cowardly.
We're supposed to be moving forward in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Come on. Now you got kids thinking, oh, man, I'm kind of scared to go outside.
Yeah.
When they grew up in a good area, it's like, okay, this is not what we are right now.
Yeah.
But yes, To Pimp a Butterfly is crazy, first off. It's on a different level. And, I mean, we've known that Kendrick is... Okay, before I even say anything, you think Kendrick's the best or J. Cole?
Kendrick.
Okay,
Kendrick.
I can agree with you on that.
Okay, yeah.
We've known Kendrick is the best.
Yeah.
And for those who say J. Cole, I understand you want to tell me, really listen to what J. Cole is saying. I need you to listen to every element of Kendrick Lamar's music. There aren't flaws. And I wanted to ask about the flaws in Damn. You were saying they're
So you heard...
I'll be watching the interviews. I'll be watching the interviews a little bit. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
what you think about that album?
Think about the high caliber of, I don't know, maybe just because To Pimp Butterfly was such on a high caliber level on the political, the social,
It was impactful.
production. Yeah, it definitely pushed hip hop in a new direction.
For sure.
You can't say the same thing about Damn, and just in my opinion. And I don't know. In my opinion, it seems like on Damn, Kendrick is depressed, and it shows that in what he chooses to say, and how impactful the music is.
Okay.
Like let's talk about the track listing. So, Blood is a minute 30 intro. I'm totally fine with intros.
Love it or hate it? Which one?
I don't hate it. See, that's the problem with it. It just like it's meh. Like I'm not going back to it. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put it this way, because in Chance's coloring book is the prime example of this question. Is how did you feel when you first heard that album? Because I've never felt as blown away as I did when I first heard Coloring Book. It was something about that album and me growing up with gospel music. I was like, yo, this is it's outstanding. You know what I'm saying? I was floored. But how did you feel when you first heard that intro track?
I was floored. I'm like,
Right.
this dude is bringing it back.
Right.
But on that note, as when you revisit when I revisited it, it just seemed like, and you just listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. Maybe in 10 years or 5 years or 5 months from now, I'm going to listen to it again, and I'm going to be totally wrong. See something I did not figure out before. But again, I just haven't seen like a message he's trying to send in the song.
Okay.
But maybe that's not what he's trying to do.
I got another question.
Yeah.
You know what Broke Five Broke is?
Broke Five Broke? Enlighten me.
So in like, what is it? Late Registration? Kanye's Late Registration? All the little skits. Like, we broke.
Oh, that?
You remember that?
Yeah.
So that's, I'm not going to say it's the same thing. It's not a one-to-one comparison. But today, it's like people don't even skip those because it's real nostalgic. So I think in 6 years, 7 years, you're going to go back to Blood and be like, yo, I'm not going to skip it. It's not skippable. Because there's a moment in time that it brings you back to, whether it's because you love the album or it's just a nostalgic time in your life. Like, it's obvious. You know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting theory. I feel like voicemail is going to come back in albums and as
Come
interludes.
on, this R&B
because
come
yeah,
back,
exactly.
bro.
That's the reason
you.
why. Yeah, that's it. We
So-
got to take one more quick break.
Go ahead.
Then we're going to get back to the rest of the show. We are 22S Radio, the next wave of K-Beach. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to the program, guys. Me and Cab were just talking about, I always forget. What were we talking about?
We was talking about K-Dot and Damn, the track listing.
That's right.
So we went through Blood,
Yeah.
the intro and whatnot.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. What? Okay, so about that, I just don't. It's a good album. It's definitely better than 99% of what music is out there. You listen to it forwards, backwards, up, down, left, right.
Whatever conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you're gonna
you
add
have.
to it. Like you're not gonna get Pimp Butterfly out of it. But something tells me that maybe that's not what's needed.
It's not, because you can listen to Pimp a Butterfly backwards, forwards, random, and it's not going to be Section 80. You're not going to get Section 80
that's
out
true.
of it. Same thing for that. You're not going to get Good Kid, Mad City. I think that it's weird, because that's really how deep this dude Kendrick's music is. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's the most professional album that he's made to date. Damn. And I say that maybe because it does have some radio hits. Because recently I went back and listened to, what was it, Humble? And I knew there was something from the moment I first heard that song. I don't really like that song. It's something about it. It almost seems forced.
It doesn't even seem like it fits in to like the album. Like,
It's interesting. DNA, I think, was a little bit better.
yeah, by far.
Than Humble. And that's just, I know a lot of people loved Humble. That was, what you would call a banger. For Kendrick Lamar, his banger is not going to be the same as like a Future banger.
But I feel like it's just simply because he came out with it after like 2 years of silence. and that was the first thing you heard from him was Humble. Other than the Heart Part 4,
Right.
was Humble, and then
crazy.
Crazy. Heart Part 4, and then Humble. People were like, "Yo, like he's back," but I feel like DNA would have gotten a lot more feedback than what Humble did, and Humble did get a lot of feedback too by itself. DNA would have been a better choice, in my humble opinion.
You know what? I agree with you. And I think that's why he used, because we're agreeing on this DNA thing. And I think that's the reason why probably, Top Dog, shout out Top Dog, and Kendrick decided to push Humble, is because I bet you that got him a lot of new fans.
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yeah.
And
if someone's a Kendrick fan, eventually they're going to find their way down the rabbit hole. And a girl that's a new Kendrick fan may eventually become a SZA fan. A new guy that's a Kendrick fan may become an Ab Soul fan, who is, a lot of people don't really like Ab Soul like that. It's because bars be going over people's heads, including me. I can't always keep up with what dude is saying.
That's a good strategy. I would have never thought about doing that.
Gives new fans.
Yeah, because if it was DNA, like, people who don't like rap music, they would have just turned off. Turn it off.
It wouldn't have.
Turn it off from it.
It wouldn't have smoothly.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's the deep cuts in that album that make it like really stand out for me, like "Yeah" or "Pride," Duckworth, and you said kind of like it was like a depressed Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, like
maybe he was just not depressed, but detached from what was going on a regular day-to-day basis, and I think maybe that's why he made the song "God." Like, this is what God feels like. You know what I mean? I'm just not on the same level as you guys. Maybe that's what he was saying, which is a flex that I cannot relate to. So maybe that's why I can't relate to everything dude is saying.
That's a good point. Maybe I will go back to this album in a couple of years, and maybe it will mean something different to me.
I think you will.
Yeah. But you know what album will never mean something different to me, no matter how many times I listen to it? KOD. KOD.
KOD's interesting.
KOD, I don't like it at all. Like, at all. Like,
that's why I am with Ye, the new Kanye album.
There's only one song on that album I like. And I'm the biggest Kanye fan, like, I know. I could easily admit it's his worst work.
Bruh,
by far.
His worst album.
Yeah.
But people don't want to hear it, man. People don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to judge him for it. But, okay, about that, I just think it's his worst only because he made it in 6 days.
And I can tell.
Yeah, you can really tell.
I can tell.
Like, some of the lyrics on there are like, what the hell, man? And, like, the production's just meh. And you could tell that the only song that he had, like, in his archive for, like, a minute was Ghost Town.
That's the best song.
Yeah, and that's easily the best song on the record. You could tell
that's the only song I'll go back and listen to.
You could tell that everything else is just, like, put together. From even the cover art was just put together right then and there.
And you know what? It's and people always talk about energy and they can feel it or whatever. But it's kind of like Kanye energy versus Kendrick Lamar. You got Kanye that made a song, I Am a God. First off, Yeezus is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, Yeezus is...
Thank you.
Yeezus is amazing.
Thank you.
And people will realize in maybe like a decade or so.
It's just that he knew that he would get people's attention with that industrial hip-hop sound.
Facts.
Yeah. So
he has a song like I Am a God. But then like we were just saying, Kendrick has a song like God. One comes over much more, smoothly than the other. And that's because, I just feel like, mentally, Kanye has not been in a space as peaceful that Kendrick Lamar is in. Whether that be the history or whatever. And that's not even saying one's better than the other. But I just don't think Kanye has the same peace of mind that Kendrick has. You know what I mean? But KOD, what you got to say about KOD, man?
It's so surface level. Like, it's just one thing. I was talking to Juice about it. Is that number one, I like J. Cole as an artist. He disses Kanye a lot, but I can get past that. He could be a bit preachy. He could be a little bit preachy, and I feel like that's what this entire album was. It just like pointing the finger, like, don't meditate. Like, what the heck is that gonna solve?
It's
like,
interesting how he portrays what his message is.
Yeah,
because and J. Cole's one of the greats.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna
don't get me wrong.
disagree with that either.
And I think that because of, and for some reason I just have seen interviews here and there where he's talking about his life on the off chance that I actually watch an interview. But I mean, he's been through a lot of things later on in his life, like maybe not childhood, but later on. So I think that's led to a high level of wisdom for somebody his age. And once he learns the correct way to portray that wisdom, I think he'll be golden. Like, we'll see peak level J. Cole. We haven't seen peak level J. Cole.
Yeah, and like the conversation when people compare him to Kendrick Lamar, he has a lot of potential to be a Kendrick Lamar. And we're all just waiting for him to drop that Kendrick Lamar like project. He just hasn't done it yet.
You know.
And I think it's going to take a little bit more time for him to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
The only two projects I would even compare to any Kendrick Lamar album for J. Cole are Born Sinner and 2014. You know what I'm saying? Those are his best. Born Sinner is my favorite. Something about it is, outstanding to me. But it's like, I think a good example is, I've been listening to Poetic Justice a lot, the Kendrick Lamar song. And like I said earlier, this is nothing wrong with it. And it's not even that. Everything's right about that song. Everything's right about it. There's nothing there that shouldn't be there, and everything's there that should be there. And it's something about J. Cole's music that sometimes there's something there that maybe shouldn't be there. It's not even major. It's just not even something that you even pick up on, but it's subconscious. And sometimes there's something that ain't there that definitely should be there. So and I think it's just the way he portrays his wisdom, once J. Cole figures out the perfect way to do that, because I would consider Kendrick Lamar's creative process almost perfect.
Yeah, it's much more complex than a J. Cole. But not that J. Cole is bad.
It's like, not even saying that in any way.
For example, in KOD, after an intro track that tells you every person in the world is born with two emotions. Number one, that is very one-dimensional. For someone like J. Cole to say that is laughable. Two, it sets you on a path to say that, okay, this album's going to be about love and suffering and that dichotomy. And so we're like, all right, let's get into it. Let's talk about love and suffering. The very next track, again, it's an intro track. So you know how I feel about intro tracks. The very next track, KOD.
Right.
What's he talking about? He's talking about how too many people complain about him not having a lot of features on his album. Like
you know what's funny about that? When you ask me what he's talking about, bro, I didn't even remember.
Exactly.
It's not even a diss.
Yeah.
It's not even a diss. But I even remember what Drake be talking about in his songs. And Drake that's a whole different discussion. Dude is unusually talented, but people like to play, I guess, devil's advocate with that, like he's not. But a lot of times I don't remember what J. Cole was talking about on a song in particular. There's obvious ones like Wet Dreams. We all know
what that song's about.
We all know that joint. It's almost like a meme at this point. A respectful meme, you know what I'm saying? Because the song is, like 9.5 out of 10. But I didn't even remember what he was talking about on that song, man, to be honest with you. It's something about that album was off.
Yeah.
What you think about the production on the album?
He made it in 3 days, so I can't really judge it to it. Yeah, that's what Juice told me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, I'll definitely give him credit for that. There are some tracks that I did like better, like the Cutoff. Production now is pretty good.
That's fine.
Window Pane, Brackets. And when we get back to skits, that's a skit I liked.
Okay.
The one with I don't know who that comedian is, and I feel really bad.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor, that's what it right. Yeah, Richard Pryor. Talking about money and like I've had a lot of money and like all that shit. But basically,
rappers love Richard Pryor. Man.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like he wraps up a lot of what they're saying in his stand up. So
I think what I do like about KOD is the whole Kill Edward thing.
Like the Alias,
right, and the whole effects he was putting on his sound, on his voice. In no way was he copying anybody with that. Like, people put effects on their voice anyways. It's just some weird, I don't know what they be doing. I'm not an engineer. But I like that creativity he brought out with the alter ego whole thing with that. I think more artists should try that out.
Yeah. He's definitely not the first to do that.
No, he's not.
Yeah, like Tyler had Wolf Haley. That
Loved every part of it,
honestly,
man.
like that.
It was weird, but I
Yeah,
liked it.
yeah. Like honestly, that was to me a little cringy now that I look back at it. I mean, like 16-year-old angsty teenage me, like love that.
Exactly.
But like, I'm 22 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna come out very differently.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be playing that like, voluntarily. He was in a weird place at that time when he was making that music. The whole Odd Future phase. That's when that kind of ushered me into rap low key though. The whole phase. So I'm gonna give it his credit regardless.
Yeah.
I didn't know he made KOD. I didn't know J. Cole made KOD in such a short amount of time though.
Yeah, that's what Terrell told me at least.
If that's a fact, that's pretty impressive to be honest with you.
All right. Well, this has got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Before we leave, would you like to give out any of your handles so people can follow you?
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to hear my beats, aka, partially lo-fi, partially not, at That Boy Cab, CAB. The link to my YouTube is on there as well, and I have other music. You can follow me on Twitter if you like too.
All right, great. Thank you guys for all watching, and we will see you all very soon.
Yes, sir.